Okay, hey you guys, this is Amelia here. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to subscribe to my channel and give me a thumbs up. Today I'm talking about common rider faults that I see. I teach a lot of people, and there's definitely themes that many riders do. So one of the biggest ones is nagging your horse, and many of you guys are amateur riders. Most amateur horses tend to be a little bit lazy, which is good in a way because lazier horses are a bit safer and easier to manage and less likely to spook or spin around. But when you have a lazy horse, it's easy to get sucked into where you're working too hard. So like where you're kicking every step just to keep the horse going at the same speed. And when you have to kick every step, it also influences your whole position and causes you to twist and get out of breath and not be able to maintain it. So how do you fix this? If you find yourself nagging your horse, a great way to fix it is through transitions. So walk, trot, canter, trot. That's a great way. The other way to fix it is to go to the extremes. So to take your leg off, close your leg. If the horse doesn't listen, give him a big kick and then take your leg off again. So instead of living like in the middle zone where it's kind of kick, either take your leg completely off and quiet or give your horse a big kick. Rider fault number 2 is looking down. So I'm going to turn to the side here. And this is something that I do a lot, so I am not above this. Comment below, let me know if you look down. But when we look down, it does a few things. So for one, your head is really heavy. So if you look down, it affects your whole spine. So if I look down, it affects like my upper back, my whole back, and also even my pelvis. It kind of makes my pelvis rotate too far forward. So that's really not good for your overall riding posture. You should have the weight of your head should be aligned so that the weight of your head goes straight down your spine and into your seat bones. The other problem with looking down is that it reduces how much you can feel what your horse is doing. When you look down, you're relying on visual stimulus to see like where your horse's head is, where your horse's ears are. But when you look up, you're relying more on feeling your horse. And even when you're looking up, so like if I'm looking up here, I can still see a lot peripherally as far as where my horse's ears are, because I do like to have an idea of, you know, where my horse's head is, where my horse's ears are. But you can do that and still be looking up and maintain a nice posture. That's rider fault number 2. Now rider fault number 3, which is another one of my big pet peeves, is when I see riders' knees that are flapping out of the saddle like this. So technically your knee should be resting in the saddle. Like your kneecap should be, if you have a big knee roll like this, your kneecap should be kind of against that knee roll. If your leg is out like this, there's no way that you can use your leg or your hip properly. So if there's a space between your knee and the saddle, you see how this is going to cause me to use too much my spur, and it's also going to lock my hips up so that I can't follow the motion of my horse. So having your knee in the saddle, and you have to really rotate your thigh in from your hip, is going to support your leg, that you can use your leg and your hip properly. So let me demonstrate this to you while I'm going, because I think it will be very useful. So if I am trotting my horse, like here, my knees are correct. So my knees are in the saddle. I'm not gripping, but they're not flapping. Now, if I turn my knees out and let them flap, you can see right away how I start bouncing, and my horse kind of sped up because my spurs are going in him, and things just didn't look good. So I'm going to go back to just riding correctly with my knees in the saddle. Now, you also don't want to grip. So if you grip with your knees, you can see how that popped my butt out of the saddle. Let me try that again on the other side. So if you grip too tightly with your knees, it's going to pop you forward and out of the saddle. and that's not good either. So it's just with your knees, it's really important that they stay against the saddle, not too tight and not too loose. That's going to help support your seat and allow you to properly use your leg. Okay, rider flaw number 4. I think we're on number 4. Another one that I see a lot is riders that have their heels up and they lose their stirrup. So a lot of times I see riders that get like this with their heels up, and then their stirrup ends up kind of here on the arch of their foot. So they're kind of like this, as opposed to having the stirrup on the ball of their foot with their heel down. So the way to fix this is that you have to think about your ankle joint. So you need to have mobility in your ankle joint so that you can keep your heels down. Your ankle acts as a shock absorber. So if I'm trotting or cantering my horse, you can see how my ankles are going like down, 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 down with every beat of his trot. If I lock up my ankles and my heels come up like this, now you can see how I'm losing my stirrups. So in order to fix the heels up and losing stirrup syndrome, you have to get this mobility in your ankles to absorb the motion of the horse and to help you keep the weight going down and keep your foot in the stirrup. Okay, rider flaw number 5 that I see a lot with riders is using an indirect rein aid to turn your horse. So comment below, let me know if you do this, because I do it, we all do it. But it's often that I see a lot of horses tend to fall to the right. And so if you find that your horse is falling to the right, usually what people do is they lean their body over here because they think, oh, if I lean over here, my horse is going to go over here. And then they take this rein across the neck like this to try to get the horse to go over there. And at the same time, this right leg ends up getting really short and high up on the horse. Obviously, I'm exaggerating this. So this is what people do. But when this happens, the horse just pushes more to the right. So if your horse is leaning one way, instead of using this indirect rein aid, what you need to do is you need to get your body shifted to the right and then be able to push your horse off of the right leg. So let me try and come towards the camera and demonstrate that a little bit. So let's say I'm coming straight and suddenly I find like my horse is drifting to the right. Well, the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to shift my body weight over here to the right. I'm going to put my right leg on my horse. I'm going to keep my hand to the right, and then I'm going to push my horse over. So that is how you fix that. But you do not ever want to do this to turn your horse. That's something that you see in a Western movie where they like neck rein the horse to turn the horse. So I think that's all the rider faults I have. I know there's a lot more. Comment below and let me know what your biggest fault is. I'm interested to hear from you guys. Okay, the end.